Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, I guess, whatever time it is when you're watching this. This is Big Sky Crypto, and I'm just doing a quick update on Bitcoin, the crypto markets as a whole. May look a little bit at the stock market too, see what's going on there, maybe the dollar and gold. Um, Been a long time since I've done an update, feel kind of bad about that. I had a death in the family, so kind of stepped away and took some time off. Um, and a lot's happened in that amount of time. I think it was early December last time I did an update, I believe. Might be wrong. Around end of November, beginning of December, something like that. But a ton has happened since then, so I just wanted to come on and do another update. Um, so today is February 8th. It's the morning of February 8th here in frigid Montana. As you can see by the screen, we've got some, this is the coldest weather we've had this winter so far, and hopefully, I don't know, I hate the cold, so I'm hoping this is the last or the only real cold stuff we get this winter. Um, anyway, can take a look. I'll get rid of this. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin. I think I've got the hourly. Yeah, I've got the hourly chart up right now. Um, First of all, we'll look at this huge pump we had this morning. Some major news broke that caused Bitcoin to really surge. It on the 6th here, it kind of pushed up almost to $41,000, but then pulled back and sort of had this cup shape forming. And then that news broke and it just skyrocketed. And the news that broke this morning was that Tesla confirmed that it bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin to diversify its reserves, cash reserves. They said they may continue to buy or buy possibly other digital assets and possibly for long term as a long term investment policy. They actually I believe last month they made a change to their investment policy that allows them to do this. Um, so huge news for Bitcoin and really the whole crypto market. There's already been this year a lot, basically a flood of institutional money coming into crypto, which I probably mentioned in some of the other updates. But there's, individual institutional investors. I know Ryo Powell is a big proponent of Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think he's actually looking at other altcoins now too. He's in pretty heavy into the crypto market, and other institutional investors also. There's certain corporations that have been also buying, but Tesla is probably one of the biggest. That's probably one of the biggest news items to come out this year. Actually, probably last year also. And in my opinion, it's probably going to open the door for, there's probably going to be a lot of other corporations that are going to just start following suit, follow Tesla's lead. with their cash reserves rather than just leaving them parked in dollars or whatever fiat currency they have it in. They're going to take a portion of it. 1.5 billion for Tesla is probably a pretty small portion of their uh, cash reserves, but I think more corporations are going to do the same thing. They're going to take a certain percentage and do a similar thing. Just buy probably Bitcoin, Ethereum, something like that. They'll start out with those um, and just put a portion of their cash reserves in digital assets. So that's just it's huge news. Um, Going back to the Bitcoin chart, I'm going to switch it back to look at the daily chart again. You can see this kind of this cup shape I was talking about here on the daily. It's real obvious. We had this peak on January 7th, just under 42,000. You can see we had a really nice climb up here and it peaked. And then we got a pretty decent pullback. If we look at this just roughly, I'm not going to get it exactly, but we got the peak here and then we got the low here on January 21st. You're looking at a little over a 30%, maybe like a 32% pullback. So decent, that's one of the bigger pullbacks we've had in quite a while. So nice, decent pullback. And then, like I said, we were kind of getting this cup shape coming up. And then the news today made Bitcoin really pop to new all-time highs. We actually hit almost 45,000, 44. This is Coinbase price. Some of the other exchanges they're probably going to be a little bit different. But Coinbase, it was 44,900 exactly where it peaked. And we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Jumping back to the hourly quick, you can see we had this big doji, big peak here, and then it's pulling back a bit right now, but you can see it got really extended above the, this is the 7 EMA, this red line here. So it got way extended above that, so it's kind of pulling back. And it could pull back right down to it, or just kind of chop sideways here and let the moving average catch up. That's typically, you see that quite a bit. Anywhere. Now back to the daily here. You can see on the daily how far the daily, the 7 EMA on the daily is all the way down at 38,870 right now. So pretty far above it. You can see anywhere like right here, we got above it a bit. That's where we got this pullback. But if you go back and look, there's quite a few spots where it'll shoot up above and then either go sideways or pull back. You can see them here. That's pretty common. But I think if I remember right, this is the beginning of December right here. Right in this area, which I think the last time I did an update was in here somewhere. We had kind of come up just about to 20,000 right in here, and then looks like we moved sideways for a few weeks, and then finally got this pop above 20,000, and then it really ran pretty strong here all the way up from, once it cleared 20, went right up over 40,000 before pulling back. So this is real strong So we were probably in this area here when I did the last update. Um, so like I said, lots happened. Bitcoin's really basic. I mean, you got a double probably from the last time I did an update. So that's huge. Um, and I think, I'm pretty confident nobody can tell for sure where the market's going, but I think we're still fairly early in this uh, bull market cycle. Um, my estimation, I'm kind of a big believer in the 4-year market cycle for Bitcoin. Um, so just what my estimates, I'm thinking we're probably looking at Bitcoin peaking. We might be looking at another 5-6 months. So something probably, you know, late summer, could be even, into the fall. That's kind of my estimation. Um, Conservatively, as far as price, I don't generally like to do predictions too much, but I could see it at least doubling or tripling from here. I think 100,000's not out of the question. And who knows? It could go well past that. Um, Another thing that will help. Uh, I mean, both the crypto markets and the stock market also, which just seems to keep going up and up. There's going to be another round of stimulus uh, money coming. There's supposed to be $1,400 checks going out. A, everybody got a $600 check, or at least if you're under the threshold for getting the stimulus, you got a $600 check a while back. So now they're pushing through. I don't think it's passed quite yet, but it's probably this week. The $1,400 checks. So that's a lot of money that, not everybody's going to jump into the stock market or crypto, but that is going to give people some basically free money they didn't have before. And the people see, both the stock market and the crypto markets just going up like they are. That's going to draw people in. Like I said, a lot of like last year especially, there was a lot of institutional investing, which was pushing the prices up. Lately, the last month or so, there's been a lot more signs of retail getting into it. You're starting to hear just in my everyday, uh, everyday life, you hear people talking about crypto, Bitcoin, mainly Bitcoin. That's the most obvious crypto. So people usually hear that first. Bitcoin, Ethereum, something like that. But I've heard a lot more people talking about it. There's streamers on Twitch, that talk about it, who I've never heard talk about it before. So it's caught a lot of people's attention. And just people in everyday, people I meet, you know, um, you'll hear them talk about Bitcoin, what's happening with it, or the crypto markets. Um, so more retail is going to be pouring in. It's not to the craziness like it was in 2017, later in 2017 when it really, Bitcoin kind of went parabolic and everybody was piling into it. We're not really to that stage yet, but I'm sure that's coming. Um, I think we're going to have periods of where it'll surge. Bitcoin and really the whole crypto market will surge, and then we're going to get, kind of sideways. Like here, we have about a month from the peak here on the 7th. We've got a month of, basically sideways. It kind of pulled back, but we're going to get periods like that where Bitcoin will surge, and then you'll get like a period of consolidation and profit taking. Along the way, people are going to be taking profits, so you're going to get some dips like this, but they're probably going to get bought up pretty quick, and then it'll surge again and do the same thing. So I think that's why I'm thinking probably later this year we'll see the peak. Altcoins have been really surging also. They usually, a lot of times when Bitcoin really surges, like today, a lot of them, you can see a lot of the altcoins are doing really well also. Sometimes when Bitcoin surges a lot, you'll see a lot of the altcoins will actually go red and won't be doing real good until Bitcoin calms down a bit or starts moving sideways. Then they'll start surging to catch up. And like we saw in 2017, I'm thinking we're probably going to see a similar market pattern where Bitcoin will peak first, and then the altcoins will surge really strong after that. There'll probably be a lot of people taking profits out of Bitcoin and pouring them into different altcoins to capture even more profit from them. Because 2017 Bitcoin peaked, I think it was, after I don't know the exact date, it was probably like the 17th, I was thinking, of December. Yeah, 15th, looks like 15th, 16th of December. And then the altcoins were anywhere from they were a couple weeks to 3 weeks later. Like first week of January into the second week of January is when of 2018 is when the altcoins were peaking. And then everything started dropping off. By that time, Bitcoin had started pulling back pretty good, but they were still going up and peaking, and then they started going down. Then the whole crypto market went into the bear market. So I'm sure we'll see a similar market pattern as that, where Bitcoin will peak first, and then you'll see the altcoins come pretty quick after that and peaking. And then we'll go into another bear market. Which could last, I think, typically the 4-year cycle will be, you'll have 2 to 3 years of the bull market cycle from the last, the end of the bear market. The previous bear market will end, and then you'll have some consolidation, and then the bull market will begin. Like if we look here at Bitcoin, you can see way over here on the left is the peak in December 2017. We got the bear market, big drop in the fall of 2018, and a bottom here, and then kind of a bottoming process, some consolidation, started getting the rise. This is the COVID dump here, which is kind of an anomaly, which was bought up really quick. So really, I would consider the bull market to have started somewhere in here. You get this peak in June of 2019, and then a pullback, the big pullback for COVID, which I think that kind of delayed this portion. I mean, if we didn't have this, we were starting to come back up here. I think we would have come up. This would have happened a little sooner. Maybe not as steep. Maybe we would have had something a little more gradual. So this, to me, this is all part of the bull market. So, like I said, I'm thinking somewhere later, early fall, late fall, somewhere in here, seeing a peak for Bitcoin, and then the altcoins after that, and then go into another bear market, which, I mean, if you look at this for Bitcoin, you got the peak in December, and then you basically bottomed. You got a whole year later, which is fairly typical. The bear market will be about a year out of the 4-year cycle. So, and just because it's done it in the past doesn't mean it's going to do it exactly the same again. But it's kind of what it's been doing so far. So I would, in my opinion, it'll probably follow a similar pattern. Once we get a peak, we'll get a pullback, bear market for approximately a year. And then as far as how far it pulls back will depend on where we peak at. But we'll get a pretty significant, because the past bull market and bear market, we had I think about an 85% pullback to this low here in December of 2018. Whether we'll get the same percentage pullback this time, I'm not sure. There's, like I've mentioned in the past, there's a different investor demographic this time. There's a lot more institutional investors than there was in previous years. So I'm not exactly sure how much of an impact that'll have on it pulling back. If we'll have more of the institutional investors looking even longer term than one market cycle. They may just continue to hold right through another bear market. It's hard to say. I'm sure all of them won't, but some may. So it might kind of mute that percentage drop a little bit. We may not get down as far. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin. Got a lot going on. Like I said, a lot's happened since my last update. You can see we're pulling back. Pretty decent pullback. Just under 43,000 now. On the day, Bitcoin was up over 5,000. Actually, maybe more than that at one point. But now you see it's pulling back to the 7 EMA. Ethereum, looking at Ethereum, I've got this is also the Coinbase chart or price chart, hourly. And Ethereum's also set a new all-time high at $1,780, and it's also pulling back now. So we'll see where they go from here. Looking at the daily on Ethereum. Get rid of some of these lines here. We're kind of in a upward slanted channel right now for Ethereum. And this is just early December, kind of I think when my last update was. You can see we were pretty much sideways for most of December. Then it finally broke out and came up, and then now we're kind of ranging in this channel, still moving higher, but kind of so far sticking in this channel. So Ethereum's looking real good. A lot of the other altcoins, like I said, have been doing real well also. The DeFi space is really, it was on fire back in, middle of August. And then we got that correction right at the beginning of September. And then DeFi cooled off, but it's been really surging again over the last probably month, maybe 2 weeks for sure, but probably about a month. It's been surging again, so it's looking really good. Let me see. Looking at the stock market, this is the SPY, which tracks the S&P 500. It's just the ETF for the S&P 500. You can see it's basically, we had pretty much the same time that Bitcoin, like I said, we had that correction beginning of September. The stock market actually did the same thing. At times they're pretty well correlated between the Bitcoin and the stock market, and then other times they kind of diverge and aren't so correlated. But you can see we had this big pullback in September, kind of a W pattern here, and then since this last drop here, it's been really surging. New all-time highs for the stock market today. So stock market's looking good. In my opinion, it's partially artificially inflated by what the Feds, they're still doing their thing, pumping a lot of money into the system. So I think it's a bit overinflated. And looking at the dollar, this is the daily chart for the dollar. We were on a pretty decent downtrend from kind of beginning of November till right toward the beginning of January. We had this bottom, and then since then it's been recovering. Probably got some resistance here up at 42. It's about 41 right now, so we'll see if it comes up and gets rejected and goes back down, or if it breaks through and keeps recovering. So not looking too bad. Gold, daily chart on gold. It's had a couple peaks here where it peaked at over 2,000 here, and then a couple times here it's tried to push higher, but then was rejected, dropped back down around 1,800, and little bounce the last couple days. So we'll see what gold does, but basically not making any huge moves. So anyway, that's I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. See, Bitcoin came down and actually touched the 7 EMA. We'll see if it bounces there. I'm not sure. Looking at the weekly, Bitcoin's still, like the weekly is down at 35,400 basically. So it's quite a ways above the weekly 7 EMA. Same thing as like I was showing you on the daily. If it gets extended too far above, it'll pull back and return to it. There's lots of spots where you can see, it'll move up, then back, push up, get too far above it and pull back. It does that quite a bit. So we'll see if the daily 7 EMA, which it's kind of sitting, or excuse me, this is the one I was showing you earlier. This is the hourly, so it's touched that. On the daily, it's still quite a ways above both the daily and the weekly. So sometimes you'll get where I sit, like I said, it'll just kind of chop sideways here and let the moving averages catch up. So we'll see what Bitcoin does here. It may pull back. We have this peak from the 7th. Could pull back to that and then kind of move sideways before moving higher again. So anyway, it's looking good. The whole crypto market is looking good. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover for this update, and hopefully won't be as long before I do another update. Like I said before, I've been hoping to do them at least once a week. So hopefully I can get back on that schedule. So anyway, hope everybody's doing good, staying safe, and I'll talk to you in the next update. Take care.